Part 1. Switching on the equipment. Now, the equipment that we use are the presentation laptop, the monitor, the Yolo box, the controller and its monitor, and our audio mixer. We'll first start with our laptop. We'll open it up and switch it on. It will start to boot. Just give it some time. Now this monitor will not switch on just yet. Just keep that in mind. Now here we're in the lock screen now, but this monitor still won't be on. You have to unlock it first. So you will put in the password that is provided by the AV team. And now you can see this monitor is now on. That's good. Now this is the remote to control the screen over there. You just click this down arrow to make it come out. There you can see it's coming down now. And now this is the projector. You just switch on using the top left button. And now you can see the projector is on, but the signal isn't there. Now to fix that, you have to power on every other unit. So you go down here and switch this power on. Now you can see all this other units are switching on. The Yolo box has power, the monitor has power, the audio mixer has power as well. And you can also see that this monitor is showing up over there now. You have to keep remembering to switch that on. Now just remember that this is on, so it can power every other unit, and over there you can see the monitor as well. Now let's go to the choir. Now this is the choir TV. This is for the choir to see. To switch it on the right side, you click the bottommost, the first bottommost button to switch it on. And then you can see the red light turns blue and leave it. It should be set on HDMI 3. And there you go. You can see the monitor is here as well, just like in the projector, showing up here. That's all you have to do. Now coming back to all the other equipment, let's switch on the Yolo box now. You have to press and hold the button in the bottom right corner. This will switch on the Yolo box. When the red light is off, that means it is booting. And just let it boot, and it will take some time. Now you can see this monitor as well will get powered. Now it's on as well. Now both of these are showing the exact same thing. Now over here to the audio mixer, you can see that all of these mixer sliders should be set all the way to the lowest. So you just make sure all these sliders are all the way down. Now the first one, channel 1, is the pulpit mic. Unmute this and raise it all the way up to 75%. The second channel is the reader mic. Raise this also to 75% and make sure it's unmuted. The fifth channel here is the choir mics. Raise this up to 75% as well. And channel 8, the back mic, which is all the way here, the last microphone input, make sure this is on and set it to 75% as well. Now this microphone is actually located all the way in the back of the church, you can see. Now make sure these sliders are not muted. If you want to change it, then always put it down or up the slider, but don't mute or unmute. Now just in case you have any audio coming in from our presentation laptop over there, then make sure channel 10 is unmuted and raised up the volume to the desired amount. After you're done with it, then make sure it's all the way down and muted. And same with the other channels as well, make sure the slider's all the way down and muted. All the way down and muted, all the way down and muted. Now, it should always be like this when you're leaving it, but just don't change anything on the master audio. If you want to change the audio of the church, then come down here to the audio amplifier and make sure this volume is set to that much. That's all for the audio mixer. Now going to the Yolo box. To continue with our setup, go to our part 2 to set up Yolo box. This is the end of part 1. Thank you. So welcome everyone to this live stream tutorial. We're just going to go through everything that we have changed on the Yolo box and just a refresher of how you should set up your live stream when you first start the Yolo box. That's all, and like some other procedures that we have added as well before starting the service. So if you have any questions, interrupt me. Papa will be looking whenever you raise up your hand. So just raise your hand and you can interrupt me. And if you want, you can write down notes to take because there is some like good amount of changes that happen. So if there's no questions, I'll begin then. Okay. So here's the Yolo box. This is the interface. Now there's a bit of changes since the last time you probably used it because there's some updates. Like in the top here, there's some new tabs. You don't need to worry about these tabs though. You just have to remain in this. It will always be in this page only. Obviously, these are still your old live streams and we cannot edit them. They're just there now. So the first thing that we'll do to make a new live stream is click the plus button. Now we'll click create a live stream. We won't do monitor mode, or monitor mode we'll only use when we are testing equipment or want to check something. So we'll create a live stream. And then for our live stream, the date, the format is the same as before. So it is year YYY, YYYY, month, day, grace, view, worship, service. It's the same format. The only thing different is that just in case if it's a special event happening, suppose it's like Easter Sunday, for example, you can write in the description of that event. So like Easter Sunday, like that. But for now, we'll just maybe call it test. Test in the description. That's one change that we are now starting to do in our live streams. Anyways, we'll click create. We'll click create now, and your live stream will pop up in this changed color. It'll say open and resume. We'll just click on it, and then this user interface is still the same as before. So we have on the top left corner our live output. The bottom left is all your sources, and the right is your control panel, you can say. So the first thing that we'll do is create our our sources. So our HDMI 1 source is our PTZ camera on top, which is this one, all the way to the right here. Our fixed camera is this middle HDMI 2, and HDMI 3 is our computer in. Right now it's showing the camera feed, but in regular service it will show your slideshow presentation. So yes, so we'll continue making our new scenes. So we'll click the add video source button, and the first source we'll add is the picture-in-picture PIP video. So we'll click on that. So the first main screen that we'll select is HDMI 1. That's the PTZ camera. We chose HDMI 1 so then you can have multiple types of shots. It's not fixed like the fixed camera. So we'll click next. Then HDMI 3, this will be your slideshow presentation. Then we'll click next. We like to set this mostly in the beginning of the service in the top right corner, because if you're in like this shot, for example, we don't want to interfere, like we don't want to block people down here in the pulpits, so we'll keep it in the top right corner. I'm sorry, pews, sorry. And we'll put the border thickness down to 0, so the white outlines won't be there on our second source. And we'll make sure it's in the top right corner. Then click done. That's one source created, that's one video source created. Then we'll click add video source again, and this time we'll make a side-by-side video. So our A source will be HDMI 1, PT side camera. We'll click next. Our second one will be HDMI 3. This will be your slideshow presentation. We'll click next. Then make sure your border thickness is to 0. And now some changes here is that this background is different. Now there's multiple default backgrounds that Yolo Box has added. So instead of using these, we made our own. So we'll click the plus button right here. This will bring up your file management, you can say, your files. So it should be already set on SD and image settings. So it should show up SBS Grace View right here. There's 2 of them. I like to select the black one. It runs better on the Yolo Box and more smoother. So we'll just select the black one and click done. Now it doesn't auto select this, so make sure you click it one more time and then it'll select the background. Now you can see our Grace View Presbyterian Church background will show up in the side by side, and then click done. That's our HDMI 1 side by side. We'll do the same thing, but this time for HDMI 2. So we'll click side by side 2 over here, HDMI 2, click next, and then HDMI 3, our slideshow presentation, click next. Our border thickness to 0, plus, and then the same SBS Grace View right here. Yes, Bob?
So you have a something added to all 3 sources, is that correct?
Side-by-sides, we do have, for picture-in-picture, you're talking about?
Well, you had picture-in-picture.
Yes.
Let me backtrack. The 3 sources are HDMI 1, and that is the
PT set camera.
That's the swivel camera, right?
Yes, correct.
And HDMI 2 is this one up here, the fixed camera?
Correct.
And 3 is the computer.
Yes.
So you have a picture-in-picture added to the...
PT set camera, yeah.
Yeah. And you have side-by-side added to the fixed camera. And do you have side-by-side added to the computer as well?
Yes, so our, if you go back, these 2,
Yes.
I'll go back more. The side-by-side is actually the PTZ, so any camera and then the computer. So this is the PTZ and then the computer. And the one I'm adding right now will be for the fixed camera and the computer. So I'll just show. So the fixed camera and the computer.
Okay. It's been a long time since I've done it, but I think that is a change. I believe we only had picture-in-picture and side-by-side added to the 2 cameras. Is that correct? Yeah. Yeah, so now we have it added to the computer as well. Okay, thank you.
Yep, no problem. So one thing that we do when we're making our side-by-sides is by when we select the side-by-side, A source is always the source to the left. So we just made it a standard now that we always select the camera first. So I'll select HDMI 2, and then I'll select the computer. So it seems more uniformed that the camera's to the left side and the computer's to the right side. Anyways, we put the border thickness to 0, click add, and then our SBS Grace view side by side, the black one. Then make sure you select the side by side one more time. It does an auto select, and click done. And now we have all these sources added. Now there's one new source that we made recently. So by clicking this arrow button, you can go down, and then you have more sources you can add here. So we'll click add video source again, scroll down, and we'll select this one, news layout. News layout, I'll just show how it will look like, but we use this for responsive Psalms or maybe like a scripture lesson. So yeah, so select a source. Make sure in news layout that you select the computer as a source. This will be the source that will show up bigger than the other source. So it'll show up left as well. So we'll click next, and then B will be HDMI 1. This is where the reader would be. So we'll click next. And this will be how it shows up. So the left one, this computer, would be where our scripture would be, or maybe our responsive psalm will be. The right will be where the person is reading. So suppose maybe on the reader, the pulpit, like this, as an example. Now we made our own background for this as well. So we'll again put border thickness to 0, then click the plus, just like side by side, but this time we'll scroll down just a tiny bit, and you'll see this new one called news layout. So we'll just select that, and then click done. Make sure you select it one more time, and this is now our new background for news layout. So this will be good for, again, responsive Psalms or something being read out loud. We'll click done, and this is here. Now, as session wanted, we have to now show a donation video whenever we are starting the service. So we'll click add video source one more time, and this time we're gonna add our video that we've created for donations. So we'll click local video 1, this top one, and then the first one that shows up, it's all black, but make sure the title says donation message final, but it's all black. You select this one and click done. And this is now the video that we have to show in the beginning of the service. So it'll show up full screen to the viewer, and that's what we use it. Now, our sources are ready, and they're all set. Now we have to set up the Yolo box for our live stream. So we'll first of all connect the YouTube channel to Grace View. So we'll just select this slider. Now I'll give you 3 options to choose from. You want to make this live stream public, unlisted, or private. We would obviously put this on public, so you'll select that on public, but because this is a test live stream just for the demonstration of this tutorial, we'll just put it on private for now, and we'll click done. Now I'll connect to the YouTube channel, but this is not live streaming yet. You have to remember, go live makes it live stream. So this is just making sure which setting you want it to be on, private, unlisted, or public. Now we'll scroll over here to the settings icon. Now the only thing is that so there's a thing in the Yolo box where you can't use the left click to move this slider. You have to middle mouse click and then move it. So you have to press this and then start sliding it. A middle mouse click and then slide it, and then it'll work. Yeah. So this is the tiny thing that Yolo box has. I don't know why they made it like this. It's kind of not so user friendly, and this is one of the many reasons why we think the Yolo box is not too good, but it's fine. So just remember that whenever you're moving around this slider, you have to middle mouse button. You have to just click on this, press it, and it'll click like a regular button, and you'll slide it. Even the same thing to select these icons, you have to middle mouse click, and you'll select the icon to that. Anyways, we'll go to this audio one, this squiggly line with the audio. We'll click that, and this is all of your inputs onto your Yolo box. So we only need all the way down here line in. This line in is from the mixer, and the mixer has all of the audios coming into it. So we don't need the Yolo box to have extra audio playing. This creates an echo and a loop, a tiny bit of that. You can hear it in the live streams, a tiny hum as well because of these. So we'll just disable all these HDMI audio inputs. So HDMI 3, disable, HDMI 1, disable. Switch off all these HDMIs and keep only line in on. It's okay if AFV switches off, leave that off if it automatically switches off. And program should obviously be on. That's it for the audio tab. So we'll scroll all the way to the right to this settings icon. We'll click on this. Now, we have to set up the Yolo box that this video stops playing, because if you notice, this video is playing even if I'm not selected to the source. This makes it very difficult for me to time the shot because I have to wait for the whole video to finish playing and it'll go back and then I have to select it. So just to make this easier, for it to not play, we have to go to local video switching settings in the settings section. Click on that and then click resume first frame and pause when switching. Select that middle one and then click back. And then go on local video play mode and make it from loop to stop at the last frame and go back. Now when you select it, this should refresh it. It's playing. I switch it back. It resets to 0, now. It doesn't play anymore. And now whenever I click on it, that's the only time that it will start playing. It won't keep playing in the background, which is very useful for timing shots. So I'll go back. Again, it's set to 0 again. I go, it plays again. And it cancels back. Now, you would set the program out on, but you'll set the program out to on, but now you can't see the live stream, so I'll just switch it off. You'll set that to on, and we don't need to do anything with the video source transitions anymore. You can keep these to default. These are not used anymore because the Yolo box is slower in processing transitions and effects. There's nothing else you need to do in the settings section. And now the Yolo box is configured. The only thing we have to do is go all the way to the left to these overlay icons. Click that middle mouse button. And you have to set the names of everyone in the service. So using the bulletin that you receive from the front, you can just use the names in there. Like suppose from today's service, like Bob, you can just put Bob's name up onto these overlays. So to edit these overlays, you press and hold it. And then there's a lot of options here. So you just click the top left corner. That's the pencil with the line. You click that one, and it'll come up with this menu. Now, I remember, I don't recall who it was, but someone said it wasn't changing the name here. And that's because they were using overlay name and writing the name over there. What overlay name is that if I suppose write my name, Eric, it doesn't change the name here. This is just naming what will show up here. So now this overlay is called Eric.
Kind of a title.
It's titling the overlay for your own benefit. Yeah. So don't click on overlay name. Just go to text and then change the text. So suppose it was on something else, and then I just called it Bob. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So I set the name and then just click done. You don't need to change any other settings. It's already configured for you. And you would have other names, suppose like suppose Papa's name, so LJ. You'll just click text and just type it in like a regular field and then click done. And now these overlays are changed. So suppose like I'm in HDMI 1 right now and the person's going up, and suppose it's Bob. Bob comes up, I'll just put the name and then Bob's up there. And then after some time, it'll just go away by itself. You don't need to change any settings. Now, when it comes to the minister, though, or the sermon, the person who's preaching, there's a specific one that's more of like a box shape, and it's in the bottom right corner. So this is the one that we use for the minister. So see, like Tim Bruno shows up in the bottom right instead of showing up in the center here. So if you have the minister, you'll just edit this one. It's the same way. You press and hold it, and click this pencil and line button, the edit button. And then under text, you just name the person. So you can always, just in case you forget, like, all right, Bob, what is Bob doing? Maybe you can just use this overlay one that we were talking about, overlay name, maybe say he was doing the sermon. This is the use of this overlay name. This is why this is created. So now I know Bob is actually doing the sermon. And suppose Papa is doing maybe the reading. So now I know that this is Papa's doing the reading. So this is how you can differentiate it. Also, you can always press it and then press and hold it. So it shows up this menu, and then you can start moving it around if you want to reorder it. Maybe like you want reading to come up first, so you'll put it up here, and you'll make it first.
Bob has a question.
Oh yes, Bob.
Okay, so I was doing pretty well until you got to where you talked about the bar at the bottom where you had to use the mouse and so on.
Yes.
And I tried to keep up with you after that, but not overly successfully, because there is a fair volume of information now that is added. So I don't know what your expectation is, whether you expect for, well, I shouldn't speak for Joan and Norma, but I don't know whether they feel the same as I do. But for me, anyway, there's a fair volume there, and I can't, I can remember pieces of what you said. If I was left to my own devices back there to run this, I would be lost in this section.
Yeah, and there's nothing to worry about. We're just showing you so you can have an understanding of this, but you don't need to memorize and know everything right now.
Okay, so
That's why we're recording.
can we just sort of backtrack a little bit and
sure.
ask a couple of questions?
Yeah, sure.
First of all, when you were talking about accessing the menu you're now on, where the speaker is, and what looks like a calendar down at the bottom, you said that you had to use the mouse. You couldn't scroll across. Now, is it not a touch screen? Can you just touch that section?
Yes, you can touch that section. This is why I don't quite use the mouse when I'm like using it. I'm normally touching it most of the time.
Okay.
I'm just using the mouse so you can like see it easier on the screen when I switch.
Okay, that's fine. So you don't actually have to use the mouse to access the, for example, the sound menu there. Okay, that's good. Now the next thing, I'm not actually sure what the next thing was that you went to, but when you got into those overlays, I guess you call them?
Yes, all the way here.
Yeah, with the, the names. That's good. I don't know whether it's something that you have done up until now or whether you just thought of at the moment, but the idea of having one called reading and one called sermon and one called prayer or something like that seems like a good idea to me. And then all you have to do is change the name of the person on it.
Yes, correct. This is part of like the new updates. This is why we're making this whole tutorial, because they have changed a lot of stuff.
Yes,
It was the last update. It was not before. We just discovered it actually when we updated it.
Yeah. No, it looks great. It's just that, like my head is sort of sort of blowing up at the moment because it's full of new details.
Yes. They have updated lots.
Do you two feel the same, or are you getting all this and I'm just behind? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's great. Thank you.
And if you ever think you need to like revisit this, we'll have it uploaded, and we'll give you all the link to the video.
Sure, okay.
Yeah, you can always rewatch it, and yeah, practice if you can. So, where was I?
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Let me do this. Okay, so this is how you use the names. Remember that these curved ones are the regular people. We'll also name these later on, like reading sermon, all this. And the reverend or whoever is reading the sermon will be in this more boxed shape overlay in the bottom right corner. Now, if you scroll all the way down, there's this countdown that we have set. This will show up maybe like 5 minutes prior to when the service actually begins. So we're now starting to stream around 5 to 6 minutes before the church service starts, so we can show this countdown. So we ask Kento for his phone, and he opens the timer app on his phone, and he sets it on 5 minutes. And we'll click start right when 5 minutes till the service begins. So suppose, for example, like the service is starting at 12:28, and it's going to be a live stream. The live stream will start. The service will start. So we'll click the start button. It will look just like this on Kento's phone. We'll click the start button here, and the start button, the overlay over here at the same time. So when you click it together, they're now synced. So you can see like my phone and over there, they're pretty much synced. We'll give this to Kento when he's playing, and he'll time it. He'll stop playing right when the counter hits 0. So it seems much more professional. Like when our countdown is stopped, he stops playing and the service actually begins. So you can see that example like in today's service, Kento did that pretty well. So normally we'll do this after we go live. So as this is a private live stream, we'll just click go live. It will give you a prompt asking you want to start the live stream. We'll just click done. It'll load. And now it's live streaming. You can see in the top you have your live counter. Now, we don't need to record the videos anymore because recording the videos makes the Yolo box even more slower than it already is. So it will make it suffocate, you can say, whenever it's switching between sources. And just in case we do need to access the recording, YouTube does record it, so we can always go on to the channel and just download the live stream from there. So at this time, this is where we're going to ask for Kento's phone, and we'll go to the overlay section, and then we'll have Kento's phone next to it. At the same time, it's like 12:25. That's a perfect example. Like suppose the live stream starting at 12:30. We'll click it at the same time. Live stream begins. The countdown is there. This should be set on shot 6. This is our full screen, our full church layout. And we'll also have our picture-in-picture in the top right corner. So this will be where the slideshows will show up. So you'll have the slideshow on the top right, the counter on the top left, and everyone in the bottom. Now, in every few minutes or so, before the stream will start, the service will start, I'll just go down here to local video, and I'll just click this. And now it is showing the donations. So when people are watching online, they can always give their online donations before the service starts, just in case they have to go somewhere. And it will be quite handy. I'll normally show this 2 times before the service begins. This is around 42 seconds long, so you can show it every 2 minutes. Now, you see here that the video is stopped, and it's not playing, it's not gonna loop. So just remember, when it's ending, it's gonna just stay in the last frame. That's what we set in the end. So normally, just before it would stop like this, I would go to picture-in-picture video. So now it's showing everyone in the service again. So suppose the offering is starting. Now what we do, we'll remove this. We make sure it's showing the full screen, the full church. So we can see the person walking down with the offerings, and we have our side-by-side background here. We have a side-by-side video background, so then it shows the exact same thing as that video for in the beginning, our local video here, but instead in the background. So what we have to do, we have to edit this source. So we press and hold it, click the edit button, and then we'll press and hold this icon, and we'll click the swap button. And now it's not going to be in this view. It will be in the videos tab because it's a video, not an image. So we'll just click we'll just click video, and instead of clicking donation message final, we'll click SBS right here, and then click done. Now you can see this video is being played, and it's scaled correctly to our side-by-side background. So it'll show up perfectly. So make sure you have this selected and click done, and now it will show this video. So the person's walking down with the offerings, the music is being played, and this is being shown as well.
Yeah, this video is basically the same QR codes. This is at the time when the offering is going on. So we show the same. So we show that first video in the starting and once in the end, but this is at the time when the offering is taken, we show the same video. But it is as a side-by-side, so it was going to give you the same message up and below the videos, side-by-side videos.
We do this so then the person who's watching feels more together and interacting with the service and actually can pay when they're watching instead of just watching for free. You can
Bob
say.
has a question.
Yes, Bob.
So when you talk about a video, you're referring to the bar at the bottom that's changing, where the QR code is,
Yes.
and then it changes to something else in a moment?
Yeah.
It's not doing it?
There are two QR codes. One is for the
Yeah,
interact.
it's changed to that. Yeah, okay,
and-
got that.
Yeah, once.
Okay, in the side-by-side then, on the left side, you've got the wide view of the church.
Correct.
What would be on the right side during an actual service?
So right now this is like the background of it, but it would be mostly a PowerPoint presentation of our offerings.
All things come from you when we are singing that.
Oh, yes, the,
All the offerings, yes.
I can just quickly give an example of this if I go to slideshow.
so on that blue section,
Yeah.
yeah,
correct.
okay, that would be, we give thee but thine own, that sort of thing?
This.
Yeah,
This will be
right,
how it would
yeah,
be.
okay, got it. Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Yeah, that is all.
That's all to setting up and the updated use of our offerings. This is all you have to do now when you're starting the Yolo box. And there is changes, like UI changes as well. So just in case you feel lost when you're doing it again, you can always watch the video. One thing though, now, as you have set this background image, the background video, it's not going to change back when you switch it. So if I switch to side by side here and I go back, it's going to continue playing this video. So just remember when you're switching it, you have to edit this guy back again to the image. So do the same thing that you would do in a video. It would automatically go to image, and then click on SBS and click done.
Can, is it possible to provide another source so you don't have to switch that?
Now that's a limitation. So I can show you the limitations. So in every single type of multi-view, you can see picture-in-picture, and then there's picture-in-picture too. But then there's no more picture-in-pictures you can add. So it's not like an unlimited amount of multi-views you can add. So we already used up both of our side-by-side video sources. So we can actually add one more. This is because I guess it can't process that many inputs at the same time. Yeah.
There's none of those other things that would work?
They like you can put them, but they're not gonna be the same as side by side. So like they're not gonna look as good as how a side by side will look. Like a split view won't work, or news layout still won't work. Triple, we don't have triple, so none of these would actually like fit that scenario.
Yeah, so that way, unfortunately, the YOLO box is very limited because remember, whenever there are multiple inputs, irrespective of your giving output, they will still keep processing behind. So YOLO box, being an Android and a limited memory system, it will not allow you to have lot many resources or lot many sources to be added to it. So we can only have one picture-in-picture, and we can have two side-by-sides, one for the camera behind and one we are using for the camera on the side. Now, unfortunately, when we have to change the background from a still image, where we say grace view, to a video at the time of offering, we have to swap them. So when we use, so what we can use, we can take one, suppose we are giving the wide angle of the church from the camera behind. So we can switch it to the side camera, meanwhile change the background from a still image on a picture-in-picture to a video, and then switch it back to the PTZ camera, the HDMI 1. Once we have shown the video, we will switch it back to the side view with the still image, and then go ahead, change the video image background to a image background. And then we'll be back to what we were earlier. Both of them will have a background image, and that was how it works. It is cumbersome, but unfortunately there's no way out with that.
The, what was it called? A news view or something like that?
Yes,
That's correct.
news layout.
News layout.
It's right beside the side by sides.
No, news layout, yeah. And what does it look like?
It looks like this. I'll just show you full screen. This is how it looks like.
Now, so that is kind of side by side.
Yeah.
Are those rectangles changeable? Like, can you resize them?
No.
So you couldn't use this.
We can use this if
We can.
we can.
We have to, then we are limited on the video because remember with that video, it's a video running behind with the grace view on top, and can you just play that video again? Play it on the full screen for us, please.
It's scaled to fit the side by sides.
Correct. So yeah, you might
Let
have
me
to
just-
make the video.
We can
again.
remake it. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
no
but
problem. with-
No, why I'm saying is, have a look, which shows the grace view, make a online donation, and then it gives you all those scan codes for the Interact within Canada and international for our website.
Yeah.
And also for the envelope we are showing in the end. But when we go to the side by side, the news layout,
Yeah, you've got bigger bars at the top and
you
bottom.
have limited, like you don't have that bigger bar in the top, so that portion will be taken off, and we'll be only showing those. If you want that, we can always make another video for this.
But that's not customizable, those boxes, is that
No.
what you're saying?
That's another limitation. On the
Yeah,
other
there are a
hand.
lot of limitations. One thing more, I think most of it is done.
Yeah, this is all that you need to do for getting the YOLO box set up. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. So one thing I would say now, the YOLO box setup is done. Yeah, so if you see on the YOLO box on top, you'll see there is audio going on. Now this audio, please, whosoever is checking the audio here should take care of that the audio levels are fine. When you see on the left, you have pulpit, all right? You have the reader, you have the label, and if you see the second last is the computer, this one. So whenever you're using any videos which has audio, you have to unmute this, and then please make sure that you are raising the mixer level to get the audio of the computer in. Otherwise, most of the time, it should be off. Now, another thing is the third one, the one left to it, is the microphone we added, right? So you have to unmute it. And this microphone is actually one connected on top here, at the back of the church. Right, that microphone we use to give the ambience of the church, and also when the choir comes back and they sing, we can still capture their audio. So we have to make sure of those properly placed. And another important part is, another important part is that most of the time the audio mixer, whosoever is using, they mute them. Oh, sorry, this is mine. So they mute them and then they unmute the channels. I would request them, if they want to do that, please just bring them down or raise it up to the level required. Because when you mute them, unmute them, it gives an abrupt audio disconnect on the audio or on the video. So like suddenly there's nothing, and suddenly I switch it on and the level of that particular channel is way high. So it is always good to use the mixer and raise the volume accordingly. That's all to it. Thank you so much for your time. We're going to post this video up so that you can have a look. If you have any questions, please feel free. It was a little difficult for us too, but then we saw that there were so many limitations on this small little box. The biggest problem with this box is that it is working on Android. And Android is very slow when it comes to video processing. That's why, iPhone is a lot better when it comes to video outputs and all, because it processes faster. Phones are far better because they have a better microprocessor, but this machine doesn't have that. But we have put a lot of money to it, and we want to use it as much as we can, with all respect. So that's why when we had the updates, we want to bring it as simple as possible.